Okay, so this is using Oracle VirtualBox. We're just going to put in the name of Kali, it's Linux, it's Ubuntu, 64-bit. I've already downloaded the ISO. So we'll give it 2 gig of RAM, it needs plenty. It's going to create a virtual hard drive, a VDI image. It's going to be dynamically fixed at, should we say 50 meg? No, yeah, let's say 50 meg, sorry, 50 gig. We'll start it. You have to select the boot media, which is a Kali Linux image, 2.5 gig. And here we have a few options. Live PA basically means it'll run from the disk. Failsafe, it runs in kind of cut down mode. Forensics for doing forensic analysis on different systems. Install text, although it doesn't say text, and install graphic. We're going to be doing the install text. Just because it's a lot simpler. Of course, English, United Kingdom, British. I'm going to be skipping parts of this just because it takes quite a while to load, and obviously we want you to sit through it. So basically, this application will work on almost any system. You can get Windows versions, you can get Mac versions, Linux versions. It's a great tool. The other ones that you could use are VMware, which isn't as flexible as this, but it does work. This is kind of more Linux orientated in my opinion. So hostname will just leave as Kali. It's not going to be part of a domain. Root password we'll just put as Kali123, so KALI123, and verify it. It used to, in previous versions, give you a bit of a hand slap for making it a bit of an unsecure password, but obviously not this time. You're going to use an entire disk, that partition, all the file systems, and then finish partition, and you want to write the changes to the disk. Okay, that'll just take a couple of minutes. So I've got the Kali Linux distribution. You can have a play with Backtrack if you want, but that's discontinued now pretty much. Kali came around in the start of 2012, and it's pretty much the latest and greatest of all the tools that you'll need for this anyway. It's great for playing around with. It's used 9 times out of 10 for applications of penetration testing in the real world. You can just, if you wanted to, you could just install Ubuntu or any kind of system you wanted and manually install these, but no. So we'll skip it. That was just asking if there's a mirror you want to use to download the separate files. You know, on Windows, if you have add-ons, you get a separate disk. Linux, it'll just download them for you. And then once this starts, we're going to make it part of the local network so we can have it on the same network as Metasploitable. And we have a nice controlled environment. Obviously, as I said before, it's important that you don't put Metasploitable Linux on a live system, purely because it's very open and it'll raise a red flag to anybody on the internet who knows what they're doing with Kali, and it wouldn't take long before it's compromised since it's so open anyway. So now it's just going to install Grub, which won't take very long. It uses the Grub bootloader. You can change it if you want to, but now we'll just use Grub. So install Grub bootloader to the master boot record. Yes, we want to do that. Finish installing. And then it says installation is complete. So remove the virtual disk image, which I can just do by doing Command Shift and 3, and then continue. It's running, removing live packages that were needed just for the disk image. It should boot into Kali Linux now. It should automatically boot from that. You shouldn't have to select which version you want. Recovery mode is just the equivalent of safe mode for Windows. All the tools on Kali don't start by default. A lot of them aren't even installed properly by default, which is why I'm kind of demonstrating how to get OpenVAS set up, because it's open source, so it's really good, but it's not exactly that intuitive when it comes to setting it up, and the instructions that come with it can be questionable, shall we say. So we'll get into Kali. Let's get into full screen mode. Okay, so we log in with root and Kali123. Anybody who's familiar with Backtrack will see that the dragon symbol on the background and the slogan has changed slightly, but you know, it's all pretty much the same still. Okay, so let's bring up a terminal. We're automatically in root. So if we do openvars check setup, it's a fantastic script that checks the entire setup for you. Step 1 there, you can see that there is an issue with the certification, the openvars-make cert, and it gives you the way to fix it. So that's openvars mk cert, and that'll guide you through setup here. Certificate lifetime 1000 days. We'll just keep 365 by default. Not bothered about a country code or a state, we'll just skip them. No, not bothered about a town. Just keep the organisation. And that tells you where the certificate paths are, the private key, and the certificate paths as well, which you will need later on. So let's run the that again, just to make sure they're being created properly, which they have. We do openvars check setup, and you can see now it's past that one, and let's move on to the next one, which is run synchronization script like openvars-nvt-sync or greenbone-nvt-sync. You probably have to do this a couple of times. It doesn't always work the first time. It depends which stage of the setup you do it in. So if we wait for this to complete, it'll probably display something else when we run the check script after this. It's quite good because it just gives you pointers to say you did that completely wrong, do it again, or this is the next stage in setting it up. So we'll just wait for this to complete. Okay, it's complete. If we do the check setup again, we'll do the same list of checks. As you can see, it's past that stage, and then the next one is telling us to do the make certification client minus n om minus I, which is the client's certificate file for openvars manager. It hasn't been found. So if we go ahead and put that in and then run this again, we'll see what stage we're at. Om minus I, enter. Okay, so right at one database entry, perfect. So now it's past that, and it's telling us a few things, a couple of errors there. Let's do an add user, just to get a user there before we go any further. So user Kali, it's password authentication, login password Kali123 and Kali123. So that's basically saying that there's no user rule set for the Kali user, which is fine, you can accept that. Just do Control D, it gives you that information there to say there's no rules. So yes, user added. Then if we go back and we do the check again, or if we, we just have to do the openvars add enable modify settings, and then we have to set this user up to be an admin user. It doesn't really allow you to do much else apart from create other users within the application. So it says there, the role of Kali has been successfully changed. We are now admin. And then if we add a cron tab in to update the NVTs let's make it every 27th of the month, it'll do an NVT sync. So if we do 0127, and then the path for the script to update the NVT file. Perfect. You can run it manually, however, you do tend to forget. And also, if you had the if you had a bit of a slow internet connection and you wanted to download a load of NVTs, it can take a while. There can be hundreds of meg, so it's best just to do it this way. So now if we do service OpenVAS start, oh yes, of course, it's not going to be recognized service. So what we have to do now is if we just have a look inside etc initd and then open V, we'll see what's there. So we've got manager, administrator and scanner. So if we restart the scanner, I'm not sure it's running in the first place, but if we restart it, okay, started. And then if we do OpenVAS SD and just start that up, it'll just take a little while. So this is just loading all of the available plugins for OpenVAS. So once OpenVAS SD is started, if we do OpenVAS MD, and then after that we need to do OpenVAS AD for administrator. So that should be all three services running in the background now. There is another service which I'll come on to in a bit. But if we do another check setup, just to see how far we are through the setup. Okay, you can see now it's showing a database issue. It's saying delete database at var_lib openvas-mgt/tasks.db. So what we need to do there is we do vasmd ---- rebuild. Which completes rather quickly. And then after that we need to run the check setup again. Perfect. And we now need to do an OpenVAS-scat data sync. Which shouldn't take too long. And then once that's completed, we just do another OpenVAS check setup again. See how far I've got through this time. Hopefully it'll recognise all the services have started and that the last command was run. Okay, so what we need to do now is do a greenbone-cert data -sync. Okay, that's saying I couldn't find the access key. So let's open up. So now we've got GSAT, which is a Greenbone security administrator. So if we take a look at the page now, we should be able to see, if we just go to localhost HTTPS, we don't need any port numbers on. Just trust the untrusted network, you understand the risks, accept, confirm security, and here we have the Greenbone Security Assistant web page. So if we log in with Kali and Kali123, this can be used independently. There we go, perfect. However, in the next video we'll show you how to operate this with Metasploit.